So I was in a thrift store recently. I was kind of perusing through the books, and I found one whose cover just stood out to me. You'll see why in a second, but I had to take a picture of it. I had to dissect this a little bit. I didn't pay really close attention to the blurb on the back because I was so entranced by the front. And I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna see if I can figure out what this book is about based solely on the imagery and the title, and then check the back blurb and see how close I got. So we're gonna go in right now and check out this book called From This Day Forward by Kathleen Carr, who chose their name based on their mode of transportation, but cleverly disguised it by changing a couple of letters around. Now, one will quickly note that this is an inspirational romance. Not that inspirational, probably, given the price tag, but, you know, sometimes you can get diamonds in the rough. This is part 16 of the Serendal saga, so we'll have to also try to bear that in mind. From This Day Forward. As far as I can tell, based on the central elements right here, is about a very debonair chiropractor who is trying desperately to fix this poor young woman's posture. We don't really have a before picture of what her posture looked like, but we can clearly see the results of afterwards, because as we can tell, her shoulders are back and straight, her spine is in line, she is ready to take on the world as he carefully guides her shoulder back with a reassuring hand and pushes the other shoulder, which you can't see because it's hidden behind her hair, directly into her spinal column. He's gazing at the back of her head for some reason that I can't quite tell. Maybe he's giving her a stern look of, if you don't get this posture thing right, you know what happens. So this is an implicit threat on the back of her head, which she can sense because reasons. In the smaller secondary element, this is, I'm assuming, the posture correction process earlier on, early stages, I guess, because her arm is using his neck as sort of a brace so that she can get the correct rotation on her core as he's making sure that her muscles are in line, that they're tight. His face has to be this close to hers for reasons. Probably making sure that her spine is where it's supposed to be. Again, one can see very, very straight, so well done there. And they're sitting down to really isolate the upper body. The third element, I think, is still them. It's very compressed at this point, but I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be the same couple of people. They're riding a horse-drawn carriage. She's still got a hold of his arm, so I guess she hasn't quite learned to have posture on her own. She still needs some assistance. And they're taking their chiropractic on the road, in the middle of a field. I guess they're en route. And that's about all we get from this. I have to assume that these three images were taken on different days because of the clothing, but otherwise, there's not a whole hell of a lot else to glean from this. Let's see if the back is a little more illuminating. Okay, we're gonna ignore the words for now. We'll get to those in a moment, don't you worry. We're gonna instead focus on these people, because I don't know who the hell they are. Is this the young lady's parents? Is this the young man's parents? Are these a completely unrelated couple of people? They're kind of just off to the side of the cover over here, looking wistfully the opposite direction. They're looking over here. What is so interesting over that way that they're paying attention to? I have no earthly clue. But anyway, something interesting is happening to the right. They have already had their posture corrected, so maybe these are previous clients, and they're witnessing the testimonial of what happens when chiropractor McGee gets his hand on another patient. Oh, we used to be like that, didn't we, Margaret? Yes, but now we stand tall and straight. Unless, of course, the words decide that that's not the narrative. What could be more precious than the gift of words? Already off to a great start with our hypothesis. Unless we change words to the gift of posture. Perfect. Unless it was the man who brought them to her. Them here being postures, I guess. Young Maggie MacDonald, fantastic protagonist name, was a thirst for knowledge, and books contained knowledge. But Maggie couldn't read. Okay, we've set up a pretty good premise here. Maggie wants knowledge, books have the knowledge, great, good start, but Maggie can't read. Fantastic. We have a protagonist, we have their motivation, and we have an obstacle for them getting to what they're after. Again, note that if you replace the word knowledge with posture, then the cover makes more sense. Because as we've noted, there's no imparting of knowledge going on over here. I guess unless you're imparting the knowledge of make sure your shoulders are back and don't slouch over all day or your lower back is going to hurt for the rest of it. So, books contain knowledge, Maggie can't read, but she wants to have knowledge. Fantastic start. Then lively Johnny Stewart, I'm assuming that that is the debonair chiropractor over yonder, burst into the routine of her life on a farm in western Ohio, bringing excitement. How exciting can chiropractic really be? And peddling the very thing she craved most in all the world, a McGuffey's reader, which a quick Google search has rendered, yes, does exist, did exist, a series of graded primers for grades 1 through 6. So apparently that is actually a thing. The year Johnny taught Maggie to read, stand up straight, was the year she fell in love with him, but it would be 7 more before they would wed. My goodness, I've heard of Florence Nightingale syndrome, but this seems like a very extreme case of it. One doesn't usually fall in love with one's chiropractor. Then driven by wanderlust and a desire to share their knowledge of... We've introduced a new element here in the last sentence of the blurb. That was never mentioned before, either by inference based on this, or by design in any of the other words. But maybe again, if we just correct this word to, you guessed it, posture. Driven by wanderlust and a desire to share their knowledge of correct posture, they trekked across the face of frontier America with their books and... I'm going to assume that this is the chiropractor's Bible, which teaches everyone how to firmly but not destructively reshape the spinal column of one's one's patients, leaving behind them strengthened spirits, strengthened skeletons, and a rich legacy of love. Sure, why not? One can love sitting up straight. Can't one? So honestly, I think I was pretty close. Like, I needed to do a little bit of a find and replace. Replacing knowledge and reading and, weirdly, God with posture. But honestly, I was pretty close. There's a young man who's trying to impart some form of knowledge to this young lady, and then they go on the road to impart that knowledge to other people. Honestly, I think I was pretty dang close. Now, I want to go back to an element I pointed out earlier, that this is the 16th of this Serenadal saga. So, has this particular Johnny MacGuffin imparted the knowledge of posture to 15 other young ladies? Or is this the 16th in a series of people imparting knowledge to other people and then trekking across frontier America with their books and new posture, leaving behind them strengthened skeletons and a rich legacy of ligaments that work properly? I'm pretty sure that these people are definitely those who Johnny has now taught how to stand up straight, because there's no other possible thing that they could be. They're looking wistfully off as Johnny rides off, having just taught them their new knowledge and how to be outstanding in their field. So this has been a deep dive into the cover of a book. One could call it Judging by the Cover, if that weren't already a series made by somebody else. Thanks for checking it out, though. I hope that you enjoyed it, because I certainly the hell did. If you want to come hang out with me, I am on Twitch every Monday and Friday from noon to 5 EST, give or take. Sometimes a little later, sometimes a little earlier. It's a thing. You know how schedules work. Sometimes they don't. And I will be back here again very soon with some more nonsense. So if you like nonsense, the algorithm stuff, you know it. I'm not gonna say it. I'll put it on the screen, but you know what it is. Until then, have a good one, and I'll see you next time.